Yes, we have got this exe file or MSI file, basically a Microsoft installer. I just click on install and next. So select complete and install. So just quickly finish off. Okay, so my installation is all done. Okay, so let me just check. I'll go to C drive, program files. I should find MongoDB. So 3.2, yeah, 64-bit, even that 34. Yeah, anything is that complaint, no problem. So this way, okay, yeah, 64 one. Perfect. So I would just uh, two things which we can do is if we are creating your terminal right here, you could use here because your Mongo yes, and MongoDB is right here, right? Or if you want to work anywhere you want, you can put this address on the path and we can access wherever you want. So I prefer to put it on a path, right? So I'll just copy this place. Maybe depending on the update and the version which you got, this might change. You can just go into the bin. I would right click and copy. Okay, and start env. I put it on the system variable. Under that environment variable, I would select this button. So you can get this. You can just click on start env. So you get this environment variable. Okay, it did not work. I would get it here. Environment variable. You can find for something like path. User or if you are, since it's our laptop, we can put it on either section. So edit. So you find a lot of paths here, whichever we have done it so far, right? I would create a new entry and paste it. In your case, if you don't see a panel something like this, you got to hit end, put a semicolon, then paste it. Yeah, the till bin. Okay, so hopefully if that is done, nothing much, it's all done. Back to normal. Okay, that's what we have done. Let me also open the slide, which I can keep showing you. Perfect. So we have taken it. Now we can unzip it wherever you want. So you have again another version of MongoDB. They also give you the zipped version. You can just unzip it and set the path, and it's all done. Okay. So finally export. That's basically in Unix or Linux. Here we set the path. Okay. So this is if I want to start MongoDB, right? It needs some place where it can collate all the database information, right? So these people are like little flexible. You can choose where you want. Now by default, it will be in C drive. In Windows, it will be like C. The directory path is C drive. Data/D. We got to create a folder, or if you want, you can create wherever you want. Maybe what I try doing is I'll try creating a nice structure here somewhere in D drive, my works, and I create 2-3 folders called as database, so everything goes there. If it is on Windows, it will be /data/DB. In Windows, it is C:// C:, which is missed out. some typo mistake. And you can create the folder structure and same as the drive and specify another location where you are trying to start. So what I do, I'll use command prompt. Okay. So I use D drive. Maybe in your case, if you don't have D drive, in C drive, create some folder so that we'll keep everything in one place, even the JSON file which we try getting it. I'll say mkdir mongo works cd mongo works. Right. So here I would say when I say dir, I don't have anything. Mkdir, you could call it anything, data or data db, anything of your choice. It's just a normal folder. I call it as data. Okay. So now I got to start. I'll say MongoD and hit enter. It throws out to be some errors. Let's try reading out. What does it say? If you say MongoD, it gives you a lot of errors. It says that, hey, there's a process ID which is 7708 which is going to start. The port number is 27017. That's the default port number. As you have 3306 for MySQL, 1521 for Oracle. So MongoDB also uses a port number called 27017 as a default one. If you don't specify, this is where it will be posted. Or I can go ahead and try specifying the port number which you want. So that's what it tries saying. And it says, hey, I was looking for something like this folder. It says, I want a database path of D drive slash data slash DB, which I did not find. So it says that, sorry, this is not possible now. Because it has to be given the external folder which has to be created manually. Okay. But in our case, where have we created it? We have created inside Mongo works slash data. And a couple of other things. It says it's a operating system, all these things, the version it says, git version, blah blah blah, all these things. Okay. So first and foremost, I'll say MongoD hyphen hyphen datadb. The folder name which you have got is data. It means the path is not set. Okay. I'll come there. Don't worry. Right. Perfect. I'll just click on allow access. You can just spend a minute just to have a look at that. This is more of a daemon. We have nothing to do here. But this is where everything is posted. Data, DB. Sorry. No. Just DB file. Yeah.
I think full part डालना डेटा MongoDB के अंदर है MongoDB Mongo words Mongo words is the data so 100
Oh yeah, I was
okay
default storage is not available for the still update is available. पर मैंने जब ये 32 को इंस्टॉल किया था उससे 64 को किया था तो दैट एक्चुअली कॉल्ड अप बाय इट्स नॉट here after we are taking this is one option and they have clearly that they should get install suitable for you also 61 I mean 32 किया था so for me also I use 32 we are using 64
yes sir I'll tell you the steps
स्टोरेज आज मैं दिखाता हूँ लंबी ये चलानी है तो इंटरनेट से गूगल में बहुत लोगों को MongoDB right when I storage small engine capital capital same word okay storage engine equal to APP का engine equal to M APV1 क्या all caps नहीं small हाँ equal to MMAPV
Then lithium MMAP APP one double is working now. Double hyphen GV bar eight. आगे ना इसका भी हमने चलाया गूगल पर
There's an extra option that you can choose. That's the storage engine if you don't have a API.
So let's
so Naveen, the command was different
which one?
for Vista. For Vista, the command was different. How will I? It was no, it went down. This one.
That's what you want.
High compression.
It doesn't matter. Do we care about compression? I think we use a different story.
No, I just have to. I tried doing that.
Normalization SQL chapter, but it will not allow you to know the primary key and the primary key and concept. Can't define. Gentile is user.
I just changed the storage engine. Okay, so yes, we should be there. 2 minutes.
Gave the path
Right. So that's where our D1 keeps running it. Now we'll try opening. We have nothing to do here now, right? So we got to open another window. One important thing which we got to know is which port number it is listening to. 27017. There might be possibility that I want to execute multiple MongoDB on the same system with a different instance. So what we can do is that's it. If you don't specify that, it would be running on 27017 if you want to be specified on a different port number. Now, as we have done, you can open one more terminal and do it. Then you will have two MongoDBs running on the server. But as of now, that's okay. Your system will go really slow. You can take one. So what I do is, I'll go what we have started with the data. That's a default port number which is listening on 27017. So that's where you have it. This is where 27017. I would again use a command prompt. So this can run anywhere. It need not be on the place where MongoDB is running and all, because it only takes the port number. Whatever port number we specify, it's gonna take. Now I'll say Mongo. That's it. You could say this, or you could say this. This is optional because MongoDB knows by default it is 27017. So I can just get rid of. Yeah, because I'm also recording, that is taking little time. It has created a database also called as test, and test has some data about the Mongo stuff and all. And I maybe here is it. No, I just typed Mongo in one more terminal, nothing much. It should not take this much time. Is it connected for you
Yes.
guys? Okay. Little strange. But generally it should not take this time. Okay. You just give me 2 minutes. Okay, so it has connected to me. I just closed and opened it. Nothing much I did it. So it shows something. I don't have some space and all that. Anyway, that's what my prompt is all about. So I could use couple of commands. I'll also go hand in hand with the slides which I have got. So we could use a command called as show DBs, which will show all the databases which are there in the MongoDB. I'll say show DBS, which will show as of now there's only one database. Now, maybe when we came from MySQL, we had this, like we tried creating a database, like create database name and all. So here there's no concept of creating database. We just say use MyDB. Uh-huh. There's no data in it. Okay. Okay. No problem. Okay. So I just say use DB. So it is as good as creating a database. But when I say again show DBs, it doesn't show you. The database will be shown only if it has content. Okay. Yes. Yes. So now on my database, I can do some job. Okay. I really don't want to put the things here because I might make some mistake. I use Notepad on the other end for typing things and copy pasting stuff and all. Preferably you do that because if not we'll end up with up and down arrow. Okay. Now first and foremost, couple of rules when you try creating an object. Every object when you try having, it should be embedded within curly braces. That's an object. If it starts with square bracket, it's an array. Okay. Each array can have objects. So we get started with addition of one object. Yes, and let me also show you. I've just thought of something like an. I'll have employee ID, maybe the name and the salary. Something like this is good enough. So we know that JSON will always take in the form of key value pair. They can only understand key value pair. I would say empid colon. The employee ID, I would give it as something like 101. Now, since it's an integer, it does not make any difference. By now, it would have treated that as a string because these languages are called as loosely typed languages. So JavaScript comes with something like this. I'll say x is equal to 33, it becomes integer. Y is equal to 33.4, it becomes float. JavaScript does not have double. I say yes is equal to high, this becomes a string. I say b is equal to true, this becomes a boolean. So here no explicit data type specification. So I would say it as 101. Maybe if you don't want this to be treated as integer, that's your choice. The next attribute which you're gonna give, I would say that as emp name. This time we got to give it in double quotes because it's string. I'll say somebody like Scott. I'll have salary. I would say something like 33445. This is a typical JSON object. Okay, so this you can make whatever complication you want, or maybe you want additional fields and so on, kind of thing. Maybe if you also want, anyways, for the first example, let's stop it here. Okay, now I want to insert it. I will say, let me go back to the terminal. Just want to show that db. You just type db this time on your terminal. DB will tell you on which database you are working now. The DB will tell you on which database you are currently associated. Now I'll say, hey, on my DB, have a collection, okay, and I want to insert. DB is whichever DB you are associated. See, DB refers now to my DB. Insert, and insert is a JavaScript function. There's a function. You just forget of this. Just for a minute, I'll cut this. There's a function. I'll say in my database, the collection called as emps insert it. What do I got to insert? Every value which you try passing here should be a JSON object, and paste. So now my database called as MyDB will have a collection called as emps that will have a insertion of the record. Okay, now let's copy this. I'll right click, copy, enter, and it gives you an acknowledgement as a JSON only. They cannot understand anything apart from JSON. Okay, so let's put another record. I'll copy this, paste it. So I would say it as 102. You can try some name. I'll say Kumar 44332. I'll copy this and paste it. Okay, we got two records. And I want to put one more record, the last record. Maybe 2-3 records will do good. Let's say 3.
So far, we inserted two documents into a collection container.
EMPS. So I'll copy this, Perfect. We have got 3 documents. Now, these tools, we have certain jars for MongoDB. What they do is you give an object, that object will do this. There are a lot of online tools also. When we try giving the data in the structured format, it will give you the JSON. That's basically the conversion. Okay. Now, I want to find the records, or I want to search. I want to write something like select star from EMP. So I would say, hey, in the database, EMPS find. If you don't specify anything within the curly braces, it would still work. It basically stuffs this. It just puts a empty uh, curly braces. Okay, so let me hit enter. This I will start 2 minutes. This is our idea. Okay, I just want to show a couple of other things since we have started now. Now, this might really not look good when we come from the actual database here. I'll just copy this. It happily takes it. Now, how can you stop this? This is not possible with the database. That's what I was saying. It's not about security. It's all data consistency. This data consistency is all done by the developer doing stuff. Okay. Assuming that the development tools will run faster than the database, we do this. You can have EMPS without anything. Just pass curly braces. It will create one object for you. Yes, it's possible for us to update this. That's a different story. Right? We'll not have all the data in one go, but your MongoDB will never throw anything. So this is actually wrong in our database. We can have a constraint called as not null in database, but not here. Is that okay? No concept of duplicates here. You keep entering. I look at this. I'm sorry. I'll insert.
We have to insert couple of values together.
We'll do that. Next object. The next we can pass an array. We can pass an array where you can have. Look at this. I'll say, I'll try find. Perfect. Good to go. And I would put little more just to show some command. I'm just going on and on. Okay. So it showed you 20 numbers in one go, and it is showing you something called as IT for more. Right? It's iterate for more. I press IT, it gives me rest of the records. So in one screen you will find 20 records only. Is that okay? It's a basic stuff which we are trying to do with. So if you put more number of records in one go, it shows only 20. Now this is all JavaScript. This is all JavaScript. What this is trying to do is, it's starting here. It's starting here. Every time the request is made, this is what's gonna happen. So EMPS is created. Look at this. There is an insertion of 101. The object is created. Some salary is created, and so on. It gives you all logs. Okay. We can even maintain an additional log file. What you do is MongoDB db path something -- logs the log path. So all your logs, what you see it here, will be stored in the file, and so on. I could even show you that. I don't know if I could MongoDB options. So here you have. So you can say MongoDB config, verbose is there, quiet is there. You can specify the port number. You can start the MongoDB in the different IP address. If you want IPv6 address, you have this log path. You can specify the log path as log path. Trust me guys, when it comes to searching, MongoDB has very good documentation, amazing documentation. And system log is there and so on. Timestamp format. Okay. Now, I want to add multiple documents. I go back to this notepad. I want to put some documents. So what I do, db.emps.insert. I'm not going to give the object. I'll give you the array of objects. Perfect. So anyways, 103 is repeated multiple times. I'll use 104. Okay. This one object, the second object. I would say something like this. emp id 104. emp name, something like the second object would look like emp id 105 emp name Tommy. Perfect. Gonna copy this. Right. So db dot emps dot find, I would say it. You see that records are all put easily. So that's why that's it. It is as simple as it. So now in the file, we can pass queries saying that, okay, if the name is this, the ID is this, the ID is greater than this, all of this. Should that be okay? Good to go? I can even store that in an object and I can pass that object. We'll try doing it. So it's, let me just go and have a look at the slide. So this is where you have it. If you want to drop the database, you can just say db.drop database. It's all gone. Okay. And we'll try importing some databases, right, sometime now. Okay. So you got something like, many at times you have thousands and thousands of records. Doing this find is of not great use. I want to just say, I want to have one record look. I'll say db dot emps dot find one. Yes. So this is what it basically, it gives you the first record. That's it. Okay. You also have something called as find pretty. That's like pretty. I don't know how pretty it looks like. You have pretty. Maybe it is just adjusting in the line. It is showing it. If it is overflown to the line, it's just formatting things and thing and that. So that's where your pretty would basically do it. You have find one, which will give you one document. Find will give you all. So the first 20 documents are shown in the collection. And you have something like pretty. So pretty is pretty, right? And it is basically for iterating. Okay. Is done. So show collections, it will show you all the data which is there. Show collections are the collections which you got. As of now, you got a collection called as EMPS. So only one collection you got. Okay, you can have another collection called as customer that tries showing up. Okay.
So inside this EMPS, we can now only go with those three attributes which we had. Or
No, any number, lesser, mover, no, nothing. Okay. Then
Can you go back to the array?
here is it. So there is a separator. Each document separator. Are we getting it? Perfect. So let's move further. You got like show collections, insert and all. Okay. Now there's another way where we try doing it. This is what we did it so far. Let's assume that you try getting the data in the form of an object. I'll say I want a EMP. I would write like this. Something like this. EMP ID is 106. EMP name, I would say it as Divakar. And what did we have? You have salary. So this is what I have it. I can store all the things in a variable called as emp is equal to the object. Okay, and I can say db dot emps dot insert emp. So I can pass the object directly. Okay, so let me just try copying this. Where is that? It's here. Okay, that's the object which is being created. I can just say copy this, paste. Yeah, it does the same job. It's object insertion. Okay, is getting it? So let's assume that you have a file. Now you want to import it. So I want to get all the data. Is we are done with it? Is that right? So I would just try creating some documents in the file. I'll create a new notepad, not the one which I have it. Notepad. So this notepad will have some documents. Let's consider I have array of documents. I believe this array we have already created. Anyways, that's the first document which I try having. Okay, so the first document is this emp id, or maybe I can use a different collection. Instead of employee, we can use a customer. Anyways, we are importing. I'll say cust id. I'll say like c1 cust income or cust name is okay. So there is no comma here. Perfect. So the second customer would be this. I would say somebody like cust id is c2, and I'll say cust name is Sagar. Okay, there's no comma here. The next one, I would say cust id is c3. Cust name I would say is Kalyan. So they are all stored in the form of an array. You could store this in the form of an array or direct objects. If you directly keep like this, they become objects. Or you can store it in a array. But you just have to tell how you have stored. Is it in a form of array or direct objects? That's how it has to parse it. There's nothing special about it. Okay. Now, let me just go back to the import and so on. You have a utility. Let me also show you where it is. Here, this is where we tried installing. You have one utility which is called as Mongo import. So what Mongo import does, it should basically import it. It takes some parameters. Now, these parameters has to be where it is. It's on a host. If you don't, here it is optional because you're working on a local host. The port number, again, this becomes optional. To which database? This is mandatory. You got to say to which database. This option is required when you put that square bracket. You take off that, you take off this. You have an array, you say this is array. Collection, this can become optional when you use it in the, you would do this. You would specify it as insert right here. Okay. but as of now it is required, and which file where it is. Okay, shall we try doing it? I will try saving this. It is not in a JSON array. We'll go with the JSON array or normal one. You can use JSON array. I'll use without array if you have created the one. The only difference for me and you when you do is you will put this, I will not put this. Okay, let me save it. It's on D drive for me. Mongo works right here. Now this file should be having an extension as .json. That's very important. .json. That's not a text file or anything. I would say this as customer.json. Customer.json. I've saved this. So okay, this is my file. Mongo works customer.json. Perfect. Now I try opening another command prompt. Okay, so one where you have MongoDB running, one you have Mongo running. I have opened one more for this utility, but all this thing point to the MongoDB only. I go to D drive. Please navigate to your folder. Mongo works here, right here. I have the file called as customer.json. Okay, so I would say Mongo import. That's my utility which I'm looking for. I don't have an array. I got to give the parameters like port is okay, host is also not required. The DB is my DB. Okay, I believe that's what we have created here. That's my DB. Okay, sorry, here it is. And it's not JSON array in my case. The collection name customer, and the file is in you just put this, yeah, anywhere. Alright, this is what you're gonna put it. JSON array. Right, not reachable server. Okay, let me just check. Okay. Failed connecting to this. Just give me a second, or we may have to pass 127.0.0.1. Uh-oh, I'm sorry, I made a typo mistake. It's this, or maybe I have to give a port number. Anyways, we're gonna give connecting to server, no reachable server. Is that working for you? It should work. I don't know. Today things are not working for me. This one? This one, sir. Any mistake I have? I got try this. Maybe Maybe that is one of the reason. Let me just check. Are we done with this? Okay, so not this. Here it is. I can say this as d colon slash. It works actually. Are we using with array or without array?
I'm using array.
Or I have made some mistake this time. Customer, even the full path is not required. Let me check with JSON array. I'll just put a comma at the end of this and JSON array. Which one? This one. Have I made any mistake? It says server is not available. Anyways, I'll check now.
Is it hyphen file then file?
File name. Hyphen file name. It is D drive slash MongoWorks. Okay. Mongo import DB is my DB. That's what we have it. Collection is customer. Just before that, I want to do a little job. Use customer. And file is d colon slash MongoWorks slash customer JSON. It is not able to connect to the server. Okay. Give me a second. Port is 27017. That's what I give it. I just give the name. Waiting for connection. Mongo and show DBs. Use my DB. Show collections. Perfect. Now out of sync. Is any mistake I am doing it? So this is what our objects, right? Perfect. I got to say JSON array. Yeah, it has imported. I just closed that server and opened it again. It all worked fine, right? I don't know. Nothing special. I did it. Okay. So let me just check. Show DBs. Use my DB. Show collection. You have customer db dot customer dot find. This is what I have it. I got 3 objects. Okay. Should that be okay? Perfect. Now just try opening another command prompt. You just say Mongo top. Just say it as Mongo top, and this keeps running every second till you cut this job. So what it basically tries giving is with a delay of 1 second. Let me just stop this. We'll try reading out. It just gives in this roles, or maybe in this database, in this collection, what are the total transactions which has happened, or the amount of time which has taken, the number of reads, or amount of time for read, amount of time for write. But here when you try doing it, does not make much difference because they all run which is less than a millisecond. Maybe in my case I have to try, my system has gone slow. Let me just check. If I just say Mongo top, I will just go ahead and try importing again. I just try importing couple of times. I just want to show that Mongo top. Yeah, you could see that somewhere the total it has taken 1 millisecond. So it has taken amount of time for the insertion. So this Mongo top is a similar one which we have it as a Unix top. It's same Unix top which I'm trying to top. There's nothing special. Okay. Plus there is another utility, very handy one, which is there in C drive program. I'm sorry. You find MongoDB server. When Mongo top is there, Mongo stat. It just basically gives the statistics. Mongo stat gives you the statistics of the job, what is happening. So you could just have a look at the headers. How many insert has happened, querying, updating, deleting, get more details about it. Come on, what is the percentage? How many dirty reads has happened and use? How many flushes has happened and so on. Gives you basic. These tools are not like DBA tools. They are developer tools actually. Right? Of course, DBA do that hardcore things with this, but at the abstract level, the developers can use this in everyday practice. That's why you have. Okay, right? Getting it? So more or less, you can try this, whenever you have time, because these were pretty simple and easier. That's why I could show that. Other things it has its own complications, like Mongo file export, Mongo dump and all. You can just dump it to some file. That should be pretty simple, right? Anyway, that my slide has that also. Most of it I have it. Even bson dump I don't have it. All others I have it. And even this Mongo oplog, as of now we'll not use it until unless we have the class started server and so on. Okay, great. So let's get back. So we have done this. Let's move ahead. Okay, so let's assume something like this. I have a requirement now for I have a collection. Now what happens over a period of time, the collections keep dumping it and so on. I want to create or I want to show that collection with my own text. So people have been using something like EMPID. Now company all of a sudden says that we don't want EMPID, I want EID, right? So I want that to be stored in another collection and so on. So your find is basically iterator. What I can do is I can take the iterator and give it to the variable. When I give it to a variable, that becomes an iterator. JavaScript is basically a loosely typed language. There's nothing very special about you got to declare a variable of type iterator and stuff it and so on. Okay. So in my case, what I try doing, I declare a variable called b. I'll say db.employees.find. What it returns a cursor, and that's the iterator part. Now I can iterate. Now this syntax is a pure C syntax. So I would say while d.hasNext, hasNext just to check whether you have it or not, or JavaScript syntax what you have got. So I store it in a local variable. That's what we try doing it in Java as well. I'll say d.next. So next will give you one object. So there will be one JSON for you. Now in that JSON, what do you want? I want s.date. I want s.area. I want s.sales. I want sales of it and so on. Okay. So we'll try doing it. So I take it with the customer or maybe whatever. Let me just check. And not this import. I'll try opening this. Okay. I'll go back to this place. I'm gonna close this. I use this notepad. I would say ITR is equal to db.emps.find. db.emps.find, and I'll say while itr dot has next. It's a function call, so I want to do some job. I would say something like var temp is equal to itr dot next, and print temp dot empid, and I want to append this with a comma and temp dot emp name. So that's what I'm looking for, and put a semicolon. Maybe I just iterate each of the record and show these things. So maybe your EMPS will have a lot of other fields, but I'm not interested. Done. So let me just copy it, and do remember, once you use the ITR, it cannot be used again, because sorry, here I'll put this comment this way. ITRs are read only, forward only, extract only once. Little caution. I'm gonna show this. I will try using ITR. I'll copy this and somewhere here. So that's my find. Yes, my ITR should have it, and I'll copy this and paste it. Is it the one? Oh, I'm in test. I think I exited and came back. That's why it created a problem. I say use MyDB. I would copy this, paste it here. Okay, and copy this and paste it here. Look at this. This is where I have it. Okay, so just get the name and so on. There are some fields maybe which does not have undefined, because it does not have the name as well. It gives you undefined. Okay, it is actually shown here. It will be shown. It is just processing it. No, it is 103. EMP ID, EMP name. Kalyan, yeah. Here is it. No, for me it is not showing. No, that ITR has it, because it is all shown in the ITR. ITR dot next has next. itr.next. Why it did not come? There's no limit on it because all the records should be shown. That's it. 1 second. Maybe this is like okay. Second. Oh, not really because it should show you all the records. There's no, there's nothing. So I'll just check that for me. Now, and one more thing, if you see, when you try executing once again, the ITR is used and you will not see the data. So that's where the ITR comes. But ideally, it should show you. I'll just check. Now, what would have happened, right? It should give you all the records. You should put it in ITR. EMPS has. Okay, let's see. Okay. Now, yeah. Now the way how we create a collection is we can even specify something like db.create collection. So when you say create collection, you can give the name and it can also take certain options for it. Now, these are a couple of options which we can give. I can say cap. Capped is something like a cap is like I want to give a constant. I want to specify the size to be of this size only and so on. Maybe if you are trying to take the reviews, I'll say that I want only last 100 reviews to be stored. Yes, you can do that. Okay. So cap optionally, if true, enables a cap collection. Cap collections is a collection fixed size collection. Automatically overrides the oldest entry. The oldest entries are always last year. Auto index ID, it is true. It creates a index on underscore ID that is by default set to true. The size you can specify that. Specify the maximum size in bytes for the capped collection. If the capped collection is true, then you need to specify this field also. Then you have a max, specifies maximum number of documents which has to be kept in the collection. Okay. So let's try creating a simple collection out there. So I'll say db.creation, create collection, my collection. I would say capped is equal to true. The size you could give whatever, but I don't want you to give something like really long. We'll give something like 10 or 5 so that every 5 entries are stored. The older ones are kept, losing it. Okay. So let me go back to this place. I'll say db dot create collection. It takes 2 parameters. I'll say my collection and let's give a capped colon true. Intended capped colon true and this auto index ID is okay. I'll say size is like 30 or 3000, max is 5. So I want only 5 records to be kept in this. As the newer entries come, the older entry should be taken off. Okay. The bytes, they're all bytes. I'll copy this and try pasting it. So it has created. So let me insert some documents out there. Uh, db dot mycall dot insert. I just create a object called as my number 1. That's where I have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. db dot mycall dot find. It should work fine. If I say 6, the first one is last, and the last 5 is kept. Should that be okay? Whichever it is. Is done with that? Right. So let's move further. Okay, insert 5 persons in a collection called person. Note we should use only one statement. How can we do it? Array? Yeah, we did that. Perfect. So what we do is we'll try passing everything in an array and send it. Good. So that's where the solution is. Okay. So you can pass the data in the brackets. So objects of art, yes, we can have. So finding documents, we do it with find. For query operations, MongoDB provides a function which is called as a find method. The method accepts both the query criteria and projections and returns the cursor to the matching document. So it can take two things. One is the projection. I can specify what fields I need and the condition what you require. You can optionally modify the query to impose limits, skips, and sorting orders. So that's what it basically, the both look same. That's what we started with. And find one basically performs the first read on the document, and it gives only one document. Now these are a couple of examples which we, just before we could put our hands, we'll have a look at a simple example. I would say I want to find users of age equal to 18. Now look at this. It tries taking the first object. So far what we did, we tried having find and we just passed the empty bracket. there was no pending. But this time I want a condition of 18. Now in your collection you have multiple fields. Do you want to see all fields or these fields? So you could say projection 1 is true, 0 is false. Okay. Now here you cannot say that name 0. Now JSON, it always takes in the form of a key value pair. Now there could be a question right saying that can I write name comma address? No, you can't do it because these objects or JSON will take only in the form of a JSON. I would say key value, and so on. Okay. And how many records do you need? I want 5. You want that to be sorted? Yes, I can sort it. And so here I go with something like age greater than, it's a document inside a document. I say I want that to be greater than 18. So this is equal to 18. Anybody with the age greater than 18 will be shown. Right? We'll try this. Perfect. Show this field. He'll show you. Like true. Perfect. So now let's go back. This one is it? Yeah. We have for greater than we say GT, less than LT, less than equal to LE, greater than equal to GE, not equal to ME, equal to E. Right? And minus A or minus O. What is it? Now it's there in the slide. So maybe the Unix people can easily, it's the same thing except for the dollar. Now everything goes same. Nothing special. Okay, so I quickly try writing db dot person dot insert name. I go with a couple of attributes, name and name. I'll start with Mahesh and age is 30. So just copy this and put it around 5-6 times just to give the limit and so on. So, right, perfect. So I may not be right here. Excuse me. Sundar is old of all of us. What is it, Sundar? Will okay. So anyways, I just given some name so that we can try having some conditions and so on. You can go with multi-condition. I want the name like this and salary like that and so on. So I just copy this and maybe right here I paste it. Done. db dot person dot find. So that's what we did it. Okay. So here I go. Now you want to specify some condition, you can do it. You can specify the condition. Now this condition, I would say age colon, let's consider like 30. So I want all people to be listed whose age is 30. I'll copy this. Sorry, because I made the string. Okay. Yeah, I made that as a string. I would have maybe the greater than would not work here again. There might be a problem. I made that as a string. Anyways, so I should find Mahesh details only. Okay. So just one more check. Maybe if you could take off this. I'm sorry, guys. I just put 1 here. I'll have another collection called as 1. Okay. So it's a number now. Instead of that, I can give it as, I'll copy all those things. Perfect. So I'll have Mahesh, whose age is 30. Okay. Now you don't want to see all fields, no problem. I would say I want to have a look at only name. So I don't want age to be seen. Okay. So I would copy this. I don't see the age, I see only. And did you notice this object always comes? Okay. For this, only this ID can take 0 because I don't want that ID to be seen, right? I'll copy this and yeah, you see this? Only name Mahesh is so. Now, if I try doing this 0, name 0, now what has happened? So we have ID, we have the name, the age. I don't want to show name and ID. It shows other. There it has to show. It has to process some record. Now this is little tricky. All the attributes which you have saying is no. Then what should your result set contain? It should be something. It has to display something. Then it will take the negation of it.
If we put age equal to 0,
Where?
if we put age in the
Nobody will be there. Nobody would be there. This is just an acknowledgement of this. You could consider. It's just an acknowledgement of it. Okay.
If we had another field like address, it would also be there.
No, it will not.
What will happen if we put the age equal to also
No records. No
this
records.
show it based
We'll try having age equal to 0.
no,
record is there, we are asking
in the bottom
What?
with name.
No, record is
With
there,
name
we are
colon
asking
0, if you say age
if the
colon
bracket
0,
age equal to
we don't want to see the age also. Yeah.
Okay.
30 there.
Oh, sure.
It should show null, or sorry, I have to copy this one. The problem is I have to copy this and put it again. Okay, it's a empty. So that's basically kind of null. And good and bad thing about this Mongo is it will not give you error. No, here happily be there. Maybe when you're switching here and there, it is happening for me. What happens if I select one character, the next time when I do, it is copied. That's why I'm switching many times here and there.
How do we do greater than?
Yeah, we'll do that. Done with this. So I would say I'll just leave this as it is. I want to show something. Okay, I want to show these two things. I want the name to be shown. I can get it of this. Perfect. Now this is your condition to be given. So just a little intended here. I don't have 30. Rather, greater than that. Let me copy this. So Prajesh, Tim, Sundar, Rakesh. And you want some limit on top two limits. Let me copy this. Okay. So Prajesh and Tim. Now dot sort age1 dot limit. So sort ascendingly. Ascending order is 1. Okay. I'll just copy. Oh, I'm sorry. There's no 2 dots. It's only a single dot. I'll copy this. Okay. I don't know. Sometimes this is giving me a problem. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Sort should be the last value to be given, because after getting the value, it's like in our SQL query, the order by will go last. Sorry. Okay. After argument, something is missing. Ah, yeah. Uh-huh. Every time I type this, dot sort before statement of first sort, then limit. I'm sorry. The limit to be the last, right? So first sort, then limited. Yeah, I was wrong. Syntax missing semicolon. Let me just check the first limit. That's a limit to. Okay, limit is working perfectly, no problem. I would copy the same. Sort age:1, which is in the ascending order. Okay. Okay. So this one. I just want to check. Okay. This was the problem. It's a function call. Okay. So it should be sorting according to that. And limited dot sort. It's a function call age:1. Okay. So it according to the sorted order, rotation team would come. Let me put it as -1.
-1 is descending.
Yeah, descending. So Sundar and Rakesh, right? It should be as simple as with odd and with round bracket. Then this, we will go for a lunch break and come back.
Early to do it all.